Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going deep into the world of L1s and modular blockchains.
Yeah, looking specifically at 2025, like what can we expect?
Exactly. The blockchain space is constantly evolving.
Yeah, definitely.
And 2024 was a wild ride.
Oh yeah.
Lots of surprises.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate this complex world?
Right.
So let's break it down.
Yeah, okay.
First off, we've got these high-performance general-purpose L1s like Sui and Aptos.
Both built on the Move VM.
Right, and they've already hit over $1 billion in total value locked.
That's a big milestone.
It is. Shows there's some serious interest there.
Definitely. And they're both working on some really cool upgrades to their consensus mechanisms.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, Sui's got this thing called Mysticity,
Mysticity. Okay.
and Aptos is focusing on Raptor.
It's like a blockchain arms race.
Yeah, kind of. They're both trying to become the fastest and most secure platform out there.
And then you've got TON.
Yeah, TON, which just exploded in popularity thanks to all those mobile games on Telegram.
Huge user base.
It is, but the big question is, can they keep that momentum going beyond just gaming?
Right. That's always the challenge, isn't it?
They need to build a diverse ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
attract developers, and really prove they're more than just hype.
Definitely.
And then there's Tron,
Yeah, a veteran in the space.
totally dominating payments, right?
Billions of dollars worth of stablecoins flowing through their networks every month.
It's incredible, but can they break out of that payments niche?
That's what we'll have to see.
Right, so we've got all these existing L1s battling it out.
Yeah.
But reports suggest that 2025 will see two new L1s enter the arena,
Oh.
Monad and Sonic.
Haven't heard of those.
They're both what they call monolithic chains,
Interesting.
and they're claiming they can scale the EVM to over 10,000 transactions per second with sub-second finality.
Wow. If they can deliver on that, it would be a game changer.
Absolutely, because right now the thinking is you need multiple chains for that kind of scalability.
Yeah. And they've both secured a ton of funding.
Yeah, so they're definitely serious about building out their ecosystems.
Okay. This is getting exciting.
It is. But it's interesting. It's not all about speed and performance anymore.
No.
No, we're seeing a shift towards platforms that prioritize a more balanced ecosystem. Like Berachain, for example.
Berachain. Oh,
They've got this proof of liquidity consensus mechanism,
interesting.
which is all about aligning incentives between everyone on the network.
And are they getting any traction?
Oh, yeah. Well, over 270 projects are already committed to building on Berachain.
It's impressive.
It is. Shows the developers are looking for more than just raw performance.
They want a platform that's sustainable and supportive.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered these powerful new L1s.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears and talk about another big trend, modular blockchains.
Okay.
Specifically, data availability layers, or DA layers as they're often called.
Ah, yes. Those are becoming more and more important.
They are. They essentially handle the heavy lifting of storing data.
Which frees up the main chain to process transactions faster.
Right. So it's all about boosting efficiency and scalability.
Makes sense.
And Celestia has been the big name in this space.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
But they've had kind of a quiet year, haven't they?
I guess so.
There was this perception that DA layers were just commodities.
Right, and they had that big token unlock.
Exactly. But they've actually been making some pretty significant progress on their technical roadmap.
Really? Like what?
Well, they've made improvements to their scalability.
Okay.
Their verification process is now more lightweight,
Interesting.
and they've introduced this groundbreaking new interoperability standard called Lazybridging.
Lazybridging. What's that?
Essentially makes it easier for different blockchains to communicate and share data.
So like building bridges between all these isolated blockchains.
Exactly. It could be huge for interoperability.
Okay. I'm starting to see the potential here.
But is it just hype, or is there real substance behind
But
it?
Celestia isn't the only one working on this. We're seeing other DA layers emerge, like EigenDA Avail and near DA.
So there's some serious competition brewing.
Definitely 2025 could be a pivotal year for them to prove their worth.
It sounds like it. So we've got all these L1s aiming to be the fastest and most efficient.
Yeah.
And then we've got these modular blockchains trying to connect everything together.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It is. But what does it all mean for someone who's just trying to understand this space?
Right. What are the key trends to watch?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the growing importance of interoperability.
Interoperability, yeah.
Solutions like Celestia's Lazybridging and Avail's Nexus are trying to bridge the gap between all these different blockchains.
So will 2025 be the year we finally see different blockchains working together seamlessly?
That's the big question, isn't it? But what about Celestia itself?
Yeah. Are they still just a DA layer?
It seems like they're aiming to become a full-fledged ecosystem.
Oh, wow.
Reports suggest there are all sorts of projects building on Celestia, from DeFi platforms to consumer applications.
Interesting. Like what kind of projects?
Well, some of the names to watch include Estrioforma, Hashflow's XOS, SpiceNet, and Prism.
Okay, so a pretty diverse range.
It is. So are modular L1s like Celestia the future?
Or will these high-performance monolithic chains like Monad and Sonic take over?
That's the million-dollar question.
It's too early to say for sure.
It is, but one thing is clear, 2025 is going to be a wild ride.
Oh, yeah, full of competition and innovation.
Absolutely. So what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, the blockchain space is changing fast.
It is.
It's not just about speed and performance anymore.
No.
The focus is shifting towards building robust ecosystems and fostering interoperability.
So it's not enough to be the fastest anymore.
Yeah.
You've got to build a community and connect with the rest of the blockchain world.
Exactly. And I'd say pay attention to the projects that are building on top of these modular platforms.
Why is that?
Because they could be the ones driving the next wave of blockchain innovation.
Okay, so modular platforms are definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
But what about these monolithic L1s like Monad and Sonic?
Hmm?
Should we be watching them too?
Absolutely. They represent a different approach to scalability.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see how they perform in the real world.
So we've got these two competing visions for the future of blockchains. The modular approach, where everything is connected, and the monolithic approach, where individual chains are trying to become super powerful.
It's like a philosophical debate.
It is. And the outcome of this debate will have a huge impact on the future of blockchain technology.
It's definitely one to watch.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an incredible start to our deep dive.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. We've explored the current state of L1s, gotten a glimpse into the future with some exciting new launches, and started to unpack the rise of modular blockchains.
A lot to digest.
Oh, we're just getting started.
Oh, there's more.
There is. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll dig even deeper into the potential of interoperability.
Looking forward to it.
And what it means for the future of the blockchain space. So stay tuned, because things are about to get even more fascinating.
Can't wait. It's amazing how quickly this space changes. You know what I mean?
It's true. Just a few years ago, the idea of connecting different blockchains seamlessly
Seemed impossible.
Exactly. But now with all these new technologies popping up,
Yeah.
it feels like we're on the verge of something big.
Definitely a paradigm shift.
Totally. Going from these isolated blockchain islands
Right.
to this interconnected ecosystem.
Mhm.
But I got to admit, I'm still wrapping my head around some of this stuff.
Yeah, it can be complex.
Like, how does Lazybridging actually work in practice?
Okay, so imagine you have two different blockchains, each with its own rules and protocols.
Okay.
Lazybridging basically creates this trustless bridge between them.
Okay.
It allows them to share data and assets
Interesting.
without needing all these complex intermediary steps.
I see.
It relies on a network of validators to kind of monitor everything.
Like a decentralized security force?
Yeah, exactly. They make sure everything's running smoothly.
And if someone tries to cheat?
They can flag it.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about speed?
Uh-huh.
Won't all this extra verification slow things down?
Well, that's the cool part. Lazybridging uses something called optimistic verification.
Optimistic verification.
Yeah, so instead of checking every single transaction,
Right.
it assumes most are legitimate.
And only focuses on the suspicious one.
Exactly. It makes things much faster.
So it's like a trust but verify approach.
Yeah, kind of. But Celestia isn't the only one working on interoperability.
Right. What about Avail and their Nexus technology?
Oh, yeah. Avail's taking a different approach. They're using zero-knowledge proofs.
ZK proofs.
Yeah, it's this really cool area of cryptography.
Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Think of it like this. You want to prove, a secret password,
Yeah.
but you don't want to actually reveal the password.
Right.
ZK proofs let you do that.
Have.
You can mathematically prove you have the knowledge without revealing the knowledge itself.
That's mind-blowing. But how does that apply to blockchain interoperability?
Well, Avail's Nexus uses ZK proofs to verify transactions between different blockchains without revealing the details of those transactions.
Okay, so it's all about privacy.
Yeah, privacy and security.
So we've got Celestia with their optimistic verification
Right.
and Avail with their ZK proofs.
It seems like there are multiple ways to achieve interoperability.
It does. And that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Having different teams, exploring different approaches.
It drives innovation.
Yeah, it pushes everyone to be better.
But it's not just about the tech itself, is it?
No.
You need a strong community and a thriving ecosystem to really make it work.
Totally. Building a bridge is one thing.
Right.
But creating a vibrant community on both sides of that bridge.
That's what unlocks the real value.
Exactly. So it's important to look at the projects being built on top of these platforms.
The builders, the innovators.
They're the ones who are going to make this interoperable future a reality.
Okay, but with all this excitement about the future, yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the hype.
Right. What are some potential challenges we need to be aware of?
Security's a big one.
Of course, as we connect all these different blockchains.
We create a bigger target for hackers.
Right. It's like building a bigger house. You have more doors and windows to secure.
Exactly. So security has to be top of mind.
What else?
Complexity is another challenge.
Integrating all these different blockchains with their unique rules?
It's not easy.
No, it requires a lot of collaboration and standardization.
So we need to make sure these interoperability solutions, they're not just secure, but also easy to use.
If they're too complicated, no one will use them.
Exactly. And, with all these new technologies emerging, it's important to be a little skeptical.
Oh, yeah. Don't just believe the hype.
Do your research, ask tough questions, and understand the risks.
Good advice. Are there any other potential downsides we should be thinking about?
Well, one concern is that interoperability.
Yeah.
It could lead to a concentration of power. So if a few big platforms become the dominant gateways for interoperability,
right,
they could control the whole ecosystem.
We don't want to replace one form of centralization with another.
Exactly.
Yep.
So how do we make sure this interoperable future, it stays truly decentralized?
That's where open source development comes in.
Right.
We need to encourage diverse teams to build these solutions.
So no single entity has too much control.
Exactly. It's all about fostering a collaborative but also competitive environment.
Where innovation can thrive without being stifled.
I like that.
But let's step back for a second.
Okay.
We've explored the benefits and challenges of interoperability.
Yeah.
But what does it actually mean for the average person?
Right. How will this impact their lives?
I think the most exciting thing is that it unlocks a whole new wave of possibilities.
Possibilities like what?
Imagine being able to move your assets between different DeFi platforms seamlessly.
Oh, wow. Getting the best rates without all the hassle.
Exactly. Or imagine using your digital identity across different games and metaverses.
Carrying your achievements with you wherever you go.
It's all about freedom and choice.
Yeah. I like that. And what about businesses?
Oh, the potential for businesses is huge.
How so?
Imagine supply chains where companies can share data securely across different blockchains.
That would improve efficiency and reduce costs.
Or healthcare systems where patient data can be shared between different providers,
leading to better care and outcomes.
It's about breaking down silos and creating more efficient systems.
In all sorts of industries.
Exactly. So this shift towards interoperability, it's not just about connecting blockchains.
It's about connecting the world.
In new and powerful ways, you've painted quite a picture.
It's an exciting time to be in this space.
It is. But I want to make sure our listeners aren't overwhelmed.
Right. What are the key takeaways?
The key takeaway is that interoperability is more than just a buzzword.
It's a fundamental shift.
It is.
In how we think about and build blockchain systems.
And while there are challenges, the potential benefits are huge.
They are touching everything from finance and gaming to healthcare and supply chains.
So it's about embracing this new era of interconnectedness. Recognizing the challenges, but also being excited about the possibilities.
That's a good way to put it. But as we wrap up this segment on interoperability, I have one more question.
Go for it.
If interoperability is the future, what happens to individual L1s?
Do they become irrelevant?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so stay tuned.
Because while interoperability is important,
it
doesn't necessarily mean the end of individual L1s.
Instead, it might lead to a more specialized ecosystem.
Where different chains play specific roles.
And contribute to the overall health of the blockchain space.
Exactly. It's not about picking winners and losers.
It's about finding the right balance.
Between collaboration and competition.
Allowing different approaches to flourish.
And that's what makes the space so fascinating.
It is constantly evolving with new ideas popping up all the time.
It's an exciting time to be involved.
It is. Well, that's all the time we have for this segment.
Already.
We've explored Lazybridging and ZK proofs, discussed the benefits and challenges of interoperability, and gotten a glimpse into the amazing applications this interconnected future might hold.
It's a lot to take in.
But our journey isn't over yet.
There's more.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll delve into the future of individual L1s in this interoperable world.
Sounds good.
And explore what it all means for the blockchain space as a whole.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all these L1s vying for dominance and these modular blockchains trying to connect everything.
Right.
But where does that leave individual L1s in this interoperable future?
Yeah, do they just become obsolete?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some people think interoperability will lead to just a few dominant chains.
Right, like central hubs.
Exactly. While others believe it will create a more diverse ecosystem.
With lots of specialized chains.
Like a fork-in-the-road consolidation versus diversification.
Yeah, but which path are we headed down?
And what will determine that?
Well, studies indicate one key factor will be differentiation.
Differentiation.
It's not enough to just be fast and cheap anymore.
Right. L1s need to offer something unique.
Exactly. Special features, specific capabilities, or a strong focus on a particular use case.
So it's all about finding your niche.
Yeah, becoming the go-to chain for a certain thing.
But how does that play into interoperability?
Wouldn't it be easier to just have one giant chain that does it all?
Right. It seems simpler.
It might, but different applications have different needs.
Okay.
Some prioritize speed, others security, others privacy.
I see.
Having a range of specialized chains allows for more flexibility.
Makes sense. So it's about embracing those different strengths.
Right, letting them coexist and complement each other.
But how would these specialized chains interact?
That's where interoperability solutions like Lazybridging and Nexus come in.
Oh.
They act as bridges, allowing communication between different chains.
Regardless of their design?
Exactly. It's like creating this network of interconnected chains.
Each with its own strengths.
But all working together seamlessly.
But wouldn't that create a lot of complexity?
Well, yeah. Managing all those chains is definitely a challenge. It'll require new standards, protocols, and tools.
To make sure everything runs smoothly. So it's like building a new internet, but for blockchains?
Yeah, a decentralized network of networks.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It is, and just like the early internet, there will be bumps along the way.
Oh, definitely.
But the potential is huge.
It is. It's about creating a more interconnected and collaborative future.
Where different blockchains work together to create something truly amazing.
But it's a lot to take in for someone new to this space.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
What advice would you give to someone just starting to explore this world?
I'd say stay curious, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to experiment.
So dive in and get your hands dirty.
Exactly. There's no one right way to approach this.
Everyone has their own path.
Exactly. Find what resonates with you and excites you about this technology.
That's great advice. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked about all this incredible tech.
Right, all these advancements.
But at the end of the day, blockchains are about more than just code.
Yeah, they're about people.
Exactly. They're tools that can be used for good or bad.
It's up to us to use them responsibly.
To create a more equitable and sustainable future.
For everyone, that's the goal.
It is. So it's not just about building the tech, but also the future we want to see.
Where everyone has the opportunity to benefit from this technology.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations are so important.
Yeah, to challenge ourselves and think critically about the impact of this technology.
Because ultimately, the future of blockchains is in our hands.
It's up to all of us to shape it.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into L1s and modular blockchains.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and feel inspired to keep exploring this amazing space.